holidays from all of us at Fact Bites in today's special bonus episode, Crazy Christmas Facts. So grab a cup of Christmas cheer, a seat by the fireplace, and let's get cracking. Speaking of Christmas cheer, eggnog. You either think it's a warming winter treat or a poor excuse to drink glue every December. But do you know its history? Eggnog is a mix of milk, eggs, liquor, and spices. Traditionally in the US, it's spiked with brandy or bourbon. While the exact origin of eggnog is debated, most historians agree it started as a hot, not cold beverage in medieval Britain. Back then, it was more of a frothy ale-like drink. The eggy beverage came to America in the 1700s, and that's when it was first associated with the holiday season. American colonists had plenty of chickens and cows from their farms, and a significant amount of rum from the distilleries in New England. You might say America was made to produce nog. Eggnog is now a traditional Christmas beverage. It was even enjoyed by George Washington, who wrote his own recipe with over a quart of hard liquor in it. Damn, George! That's a heck of a Merry Christmas. Eggnog is now a traditional Christmas beverage, loved or hated by many an American. Every Christmas Eve, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, better known as NORAD, tracks Santa with their official Santa tracker. This festive tradition started because of a typo in the 1950s. This is a crazy story. So in December of 1955, a Sears department store in Colorado Springs, Colorado published a phone number for kids to call Santa and inform him what they wanted for Christmas. You know, because Santa's not busy enough at home. There was only one problem. The newspaper printed the wrong phone number. The phone number actually called the red phone at NORAD's facility in Colorado Springs. Yes, that red phone. The phone that rings when there's a real emergency. Remember, this was during the Cold War. When an officer answered the phone, a child on the other end asked, "Is this Santa Claus?" Soon the calls flooded in. At first there was some confusion, but once they figured out the newspaper's mistake, the military decided to play along, and this soon turned into the Santa tracker. Talk about Christmas spirit. To this day, NORAD still reports Santa's track as he crosses the United States on his sleigh. We've linked to the Santa tracker in the description below, so check it out. And NORAD's not the only ones getting in on that Christmas spirit. The first Christmas tree to ever be placed in the White House was in 1889, during the Benjamin Harrison administration. That's according to the White House Historical Association. It was placed in the second floor oval yellow room. However, some historians claim President Franklin Pierce was the first to have a tree in the White House, back in the 1850s. In the grand tradition of Christmas stories too sad to mention, Pierce allegedly set up the first White House Christmas tree to cheer up his wife after the tragic and untimely death of their 11-year-old son. That story's too much of a bummer, so we'll forget it and stick with the official Harrison account. Wish we could forget the little matchstick girl. Regardless, a Christmas tree hasn't always been a part of the holidays at the White House. Often the appearance of a tree depended on whether the first family had children. In the early 1900s, Theodore Roosevelt skipped setting up a Christmas tree several times. President Calvin Coolidge was the first chief executive to preside over the National Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony, which is on the ellipse behind the White House. The year was 1923. Almost 100 years later, and this tradition is still going strong. Speaking of traditions, in Japan, KFC, yes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, is the traditional Christmas dinner. Japanese people will wait in long lines for KFC's Christmas dinner bucket. It started in the 1970s when the first KFC in Japan decided to run a holiday promotional bucket. It was reportedly inspired by the American tradition of turkey at Thanksgiving. Instead of turkey, KFC was selling fried chicken. Since Christianity is only a small part of Japan's population, the country didn't have any real Christmas traditions. Some say KFC started their own, and today it's still crazy popular. I don't know, guys, there's something about Colonel Sanders in a Santa suit that's a little bit off. Did you know that Hark the Herald Angels Sing was originally a song about the Gutenberg printing press? Mendelssohn, the guy who composed the tune for Hark, originally wrote it in commemoration of the 400th anniversary of the printing press in 1840. Methodist founder Charles Wesley wrote the lyrics back in 1793, and the lyrics and music weren't paired together until after both were dead in 1855 by William H. Cummings. In fact, a lot of the songs we know as Christmas carols today were repurposed folk tunes from something else. It makes a lot of sense when you consider that the original carols sung during the Christmas season were all in Latin. A little hard to use those songs for wassailing when nobody understands what you're saying. Volo aliquid vinum isn't quite as effective as we won't go until we get some. And while you're questioning everything you ever knew about Christmas carols, let's talk about Christmas Day, December 25th, right? Nope, not everywhere. For Orthodox Christians, Christmas Day isn't until January 7th. Back in the 1500s, Pope Gregory XIII proposed that everybody just jump ahead 11 days to keep the calendar in sync with the planet's equinoxes. Like literally jump ahead. Everybody went to bed on October 4th, 1582, and then woke up October 15th, 1582. Wild. This is known as the Gregorian calendar, and it's what most of the world uses today. It's part of the reason why we have leap day in February every 4 years. The Eastern Orthodox Church, which had split from the Roman Catholic Church several hundred years earlier, decided it would stick to the Julian calendar and have October 5th through 14th for that year. Countries where the Eastern Orthodox Church prevails, like Russia, Egypt, and Greece, eventually transitioned to the Gregorian calendar, but for religious holidays, like Christmas, they maintain the Julian calendar. Fun facts: because the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar have different rules for leap years, they are slowly getting further and further out of sync, so that by the year 2100, Christmas Day will fall on January 8th for Eastern Orthodox believers. So whether you celebrate on January 8th or December 24th, sit down to a Christmas goose or a Kentucky drumstick. Have yourself a merry little Christmas, a fantastic holiday season, and a happy new year from all of us at Fact Bites.